Hello. So, you're thinking of what you're going to do with all of your data at Branson now that you are departing Branson. Okay, so there are a couple of ways that you can do this. Okay, fortunately, Google has stepped up its game a little bit in recent history, so it's gotten better. Let me demonstrate here from Princess Leia's Branson Google account. Okay, so Leia is leaving Branson, and she's saying, okay, I need to take my stuff with me. And how do I do that? So once you sign in, and I'm just here at the Gmail interface, if you click up here on your account, all right, you'll see whether you have a picture or not. This is your account you're signed in at, and so here we are, Leia Organa at Branson.org. If you click on the My Account button, you'll be taken to the page where you manage all of your security preferences, etc. So the other, right here under Personal Info and Privacy, you'll notice that there's Control Your Content. If you click that, you are given two options. One option is to download your data and create an archive. But the other option, this is the new option, and I would suggest the better option, is the transfer your content. And this says you can copy and transfer your emails, drive files, and other Google stuff to another account. So if I click, let's go with the transfer option first. And this should be obvious why it's a better option. So I have actually already gone through and set this up just for purposes of time in the video, but I have a personal Gmail account here, as you would. You would set up a, Leia Organa at gmail.com or whatever your name is at gmail.com. You may already have one. If not, you would want to create one. And then you would type that email in. You would be prompted to do that. And directly below that, there's going to be a send code. And what's going to happen is you will a code will be sent to this email address that you provide. And so you'd have to log out, you have to go into that account, and you would have to retrieve that code. Once you have the code, you enter the code in, and then what it does is it verifies that that was your account, so that the process can begin. So now we have the process of account is verified, okay? And then you're going to go through and you're going to select the different services, the content that you wish to transfer, okay? And really, it's kind of limited, but this is a great way, for example, Drive and Gmail, all right, to get a lot of that stuff transferred over. Now, there's a caveat here. In a personal Gmail account, you're allotted 15 gigabytes of storage space. Now, that's a fair amount. For most people, that will accommodate a lot of what's going on. And generally speaking, in your Drive files, in your Gmail, you're not going to go over that. So I would say this would be a great safe way for the average person. Again, I'm going to stress average person who isn't creating tons and tons and tons of stuff in Drive, like massive presentations with, if you're loading photos or videos in there or something, that could obviously put you over the content limit. And in which case you'd have to pay for additional space on your Gmail account. Now, it's pretty cheap. And so I would still recommend that this is the best option because it actually transfers everything over, which is very nice. And so you can in one go get everything moved over. So let me show you what it looks like. You'd start transfer, okay? Actually, I'm not going to do. I've already done it. All right. So I'm going to sign out of this account. Okay. Get rid of that. And I'm going to go to this account and sign in. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you the emails in this account are here, and they show that your content process has started, your content has arrived. Okay, so specifically, we're looking here on the email side, and I see these two links here, this Leia Organa and this moved, and they'll be the same thing. Now, if you're probably wondering why are there only two email messages, I had done this before, and I had transferred all the previous content, so all of those email addresses you saw in that account did move over, and it just creates these two labels. All right, and it's nicely contained within your email, and you can decide whether to move them into new labels or not. Since I did it the second time here, only the new email addresses, emails transferred, but it all worked. Okay, I can then go into Drive, and here we are. A file folder is created in my Drive from that account, and she only had a few things in there, but there it all is. Okay. Now, be aware that when you initiate this transfer process, if you do have a lot of stuff, the note that comes up says it may take up to a week for this to happen, and you'll get a notification. Don't worry, you don't have to leave your computer sitting open for a week. It's a request that's sent to Google. The Google servers will chew on it and just start doing the moving process, and will send you an email on that new account when the process is all done. So there's that. But do remember that in this account, your 15 gigabytes of space does include everything: email, photos, Drive files, etc. I do highly suggest that you consider paying a little bit of money and upgrade your storage space if you don't have enough, and you think you might not have enough. It's very cheap. It's an excellent way to store your materials. I really can't recommend it highly enough. This would be the no muss, no fuss way to do this and get the vast majority of your stuff over. So now, what is the other method? Okay, so I'm going to sign out of here. Okay, and go back into Leia Organa's account. Okay, so the other way that you can deal with this, again, click on your account, My Account, and under Personal Info and Privacy, control your content. The other way to do this, a little slow. Okay, is you can download your data and create an archive. Now, here's the problem, and it's not a problem, but it's an issue that you need to be aware of. When you create the archive, it's a great method of creating the archive, but there's not an associated method for importing. So you can export, but the import feature doesn't exist. So basically what you're doing is you're just grabbing your stuff in a bunch of folders and you're taking it with you. And let me show you what that looks like. When you create the archive, if I click this, this is what you get. Okay, and you still may want to do this because not all of this stuff is going to transfer over with the Google Transfer. Okay, so you may want to come back in here. For example, everyone's different. Everyone uses Google in a different way. So for example, if you had tons of bookmarks, you're like, I want to really make sure that I get those. Those are easy to import in a new account. You could grab those. Usually calendars is not something that people need, but contacts, you might have a bunch of contacts and you want to download those so that you have them. Your drive should have already been taken care of through transfer. Google Photos. This is an easy way to quickly use up a lot of space. So if you have tons and tons and tons of photos, I'd actually recommend that you definitely do the archive download from in this fashion for the photos, because you just get tons of photos that you can then have and upload them as you wish into the new account or somewhere else. Okay, that's a great one for a lot of the stuff most people don't use. Again, the mail will already have been taken care of. All right, so you can turn on and off these features as you see fit. Some of them have additional options. Okay, for example, in Google Photos, you'd want to say, include all photo albums or only selected photo albums. So basically, you customize everything that you want to export. So you would want to definitely take a little bit of time and make sure that you had the stuff that you need. And only check the services that you actually use. So you're going to want to, again, take some time and look through your account. What is it that I need to take with me? What services am I using? Click Next. It's going to then begin processing an archive for you. And again, it'll give you a note. How long is this going to take? Well, I've already done that. And since this account didn't have much, this is what you get. So you get a takeout archive. You double click it, and this is what you get. And it's this takeout. I'll kind of move this out of the way there. And you have an index HTML All right. And what that provides you is these are all of the services that I selected from her account to export. And here's the Google Photos, and it tells you about, okay, what formats are the photos in, what format are the mail files in. So it gives you some nice information. But if you look at the actual folders that are created, for example, in Drive, which again, I don't recommend you do this way. I recommend you transfer the Drive files in the transfer function. Here are the actual files, docx, HTML, there's the other docx there. What are something? Google Photos, okay. So we just happen to have a couple profile photos. These are just, I don't even know what that is. But you'd want to go through and open up your albums and say, hey, do I have the photos in there that I was assuming that I had? Okay. And in Mail, again, I don't recommend you use this process for Mail, but it exports it in what's called an mbox format, and other email services can actually access the mail. So if you do decide to do it just as an archive, or if you do the transfer and want to do the archive in addition to that just to be safe, you can always do that as well. All right. So anyway, so all of this stuff will be exported in this way, and they're all accessible in file formats. So to recap, once again, I recommend that Archive is great for certain services. For example, especially I would say photos, things where are they? Here they are. If you happen to have tons and tons and tons of large file size items that you think are going to eat up tons of space, you might just want to have an archive of that stuff instead of trying to do a transfer or sharing them with your account directly. And the Drive and the email, again, if you're an average user and you don't have tons and tons and tons of stuff, you remember an average document in Drive doesn't take up that much space. I would go through the Google transfer process, okay, and just immediately transfer it. It shows up in your personal account, and that's it. You're done. And then you can come back into this archiving issue service and get the rest of the stuff. Okay. The other option that you of course do have is you can share items from your Drive in the Branson account to the new one and go through and transfer ownership. I think that's a lot of work. I don't recommend that at all. I think a combination of the transfer and the archive functions here would be the best solution. Okay. Of course, if you need any assistance with any of this, please don't hesitate to contact myself or Cecile, and we will be happy to assist you with choosing the right process to make sure that you can transfer and continue using your data as you leave Branson. Thanks a lot.